IT organizations have long struggled to improve service levels to their customers without adding costs, reducing quality, or introducing risk. Today, this is even more critical to businesses with the effects of government regulations, globalization, mergers and acquisitions, and an intense competitive pressure. It's also impacting providers delivering software, platform, and infrastructure as a service. Companies today need a framework to manage their global change governance and maintaining sound processes to comply with government regulation and, of course, keeping their customers satisfied. Many are realizing they don't need to reinvent the wheel and are looking to industry-proven methodologies. One of these is Itil. At the end of this session, you should be able to have a general understanding of the Itil framework and its purpose, commonly used terms, and an idea as to if Itil could be of the benefit to you and your organization.
Welcome to Itil Fundamentals. I'm Karina.
And I'm Jessica.
Today we'll be covering the fundamental concepts of Itil framework, definitions, some key terms used, and a general overview.
This session is tailored to those who are interested in learning the basics of Itil. You may find yourself watching this video that in fact some of or many of the components are already in your IT organization. However, you may be just using a different vocabulary.
That may be true, so let's get started.
Itil stands for Information Technology Infrastructure Library. Itil is a non-proprietary approach for managing information technology services. It was developed in the late 1980s by a branch of the British government, OGC. It presents common terminology and best practice guidelines for how IT can provide better value to the business, providing optimal service provisioning at a justifiable cost. A few years back, the Itil framework was redesigned from a process-based approach to a service lifecycle approach. Since being published, Itil best practices have been adopted in thousands of IT organizations worldwide. There are 5 sets of books that are concerned with the IT service provision and managing of IT infrastructure. And the 5 volumes are Itil Service Strategy, Itil Service Design, Itil Service Transition, Itil Service Operation, and Itil Continual Service Improvement. What can Itil do for you? If you're the head of an IT organization, Itil can help you reduce costs, increase quality, and decrease risk around your department's service delivery. It can help management's ability to improve their strategic decisions regarding what services to deliver to their customers, what services to discontinue, or what service to make further investments in. With Itil, you can gain visibility to the total cost of ownership and utilization by assessing the full life cycle of the assets and services, not just the upfront cost. As an IT worker, it can help you become more productive and efficient in your day-to-day work by knowing what services are the most critical and important to the users. As a user of IT services, Itil can enable easy-to-understand communications from your IT department and a clear set of expectations of service levels for each service consumed. Now that all sounds good, but how is it really done? Primarily, it's done by reporting and metrics, along with well-established and best practices processes and clear communications. But it also requires all level of management support and, of course, the discipline of the organization to follow the framework. In other words, the Information Technology Infrastructure Library describes the lifecycle, processes, procedures, tasks, functions, and checklists that are not organization-specific. The good and best practices material gathered and documented are based on years of experiences by IT practitioners designed for an information technology service delivery model. It is used by organizations to establish integration with a company's vision and strategy, focused on delivering services that are of value and importance, while maintaining costs and risks. It allows the IT organization to establish a baseline from which it can plan, implement, and measure its services to its customers and ensure continual improvements. It also reduces cost by leveraging efficiencies to improve productivity of IT staff and resources. In addition, I think of ITIL as a philosophy about IT service delivery. What do I mean by that? Well, first it means I believe that IT is a service provider. And to keep customers productive and satisfied with the services, I choose to build a proven service model that includes many of the ITIL recommendations. ITIL for me is a way of conducting business. The one entry point for customers to communicate with IT, request service, report incidents, or ask how-tos is referred to as the single point of contact, SPOC. Usually it's called a service desk or help desk. Service management is a set of specialized organizational capabilities for providing value to customers in the form of a service. For example, there are distinct functions, the service desk. There are processes. One is called change control. And the knowledge, experience, and skills refers to the capabilities of the IT organization's staff. For example, a network engineer or database administrator. A repository. It could be as simple as a list containing the details of all the services delivered to customers by IT, and it's called a business service catalog. The purpose of this catalog is to help facilitate a more proactive service delivery to the customers, and it is also integrated with the service level agreements. There's a second catalog called Technical Service Catalog, and its purpose is to support the IT organization to ensure proper provisioning of its services to the customers, as well as understanding the relationships between service level agreements and the operational level agreements. When a formal proposal for a change is submitted, it's referred to as a request for change, using the abbreviation RFC. An RFC can be submitted by the customer or IT, the servicing business unit. Participants from the business, IT, and in some cases third-party suppliers are selected to support the change control process by providing advice, input, and recommendation in the assessment, prioritization, and scheduling of changes to the change manager or change administrator. This group is called the Change Advisory Board, CAB. I mentioned earlier the terms Service Level Agreement, SLA, and Operational Level Agreement, OLA. So what is the difference between the two? The SLA is an agreement between an IT service provider to a customer, the consumer of the service. For example, IT agrees to make email services available at all times, with the exceptions that once a month on a Friday night, the service is offline for maintenance for 4 hours. The OLA is an agreement between an IT service provider and another part of the organization or a third-party supplier. For example, an agreement can exist between IT and procurement or purchasing that states that laptops and PCs are purchased at agreed times in order to facilitate new hires and replacements. The term incident and problem are sometimes confused as one and the same. However, in ITIL, an incident is defined as any event which is not part of the standard operation of a service. For example, a customer reports to the service desk that the screen on their laptop is broken. Now let's say that same week, the service desk is receiving multiple calls about other broken laptop screens. Now there is a problem. Because a problem is a condition identified as a result of multiple incidents that exhibit the same or common symptoms. In this case, the problem turned out to be defective screens from the supplier. The service strategy goal is to provide organizations the ability to design, develop, and implement service management as a strategic asset and to think and act in a strategic manner. It is common that this phase is part of the annual and biannual planning sessions. It may also be part of the quarterly reviews in organizations that are prone to frequent or rapid change or have a high degree of maturity. The processes defined for this phase are service portfolio management. This is where the company looks at its service portfolio to determine the need or desire for new or expanded services that should be phased out and eliminated. Along with the service portfolio management, you also need to go through the process of financial feasibility and understanding the return on investment. You will have to address the demand, not just the demand from customers, but also the demand it will put on the servicing organizations and other departments in the company. In the next phase, service design, the goal is to successfully introduce into the live operations environment new or changed services. That means that considerations have to be made from the operational perspective of the service delivery. For example, the applications team is designing a new application, and they, along with the operations team, consider many different aspects of the service offering. Who and how many users will be using the application simultaneous? How many different browsers will be supported? What third-party suppliers are they dependent on? What type of security will be used? How will they recover if there is a disaster? And does the operation team have the capability and skills to support the application? All of these questions and many more have to be addressed to ensure a successful deployment into the production environment and for the continued support of the new service. The service transition goal is to manage communication and commitments across the organization, managing any organizational changes, and manage the stakeholders' expectations. This phase is also about documenting and recording the new service and its assets, training staff, and user acceptance. To follow our example, the development of the application is complete, and the team is going through user testing and acceptance. A change request has been made, and the application is scheduled to be deployed. The operations team has been trained to support the new service, and the service catalogs, business and technical, have been updated with the agreed-upon service levels and operational levels. Everything is set up to successfully introduce the new service into the production environment. The goal of the service operation is to be responsible for the ongoing management of the technology that is used to deliver and support services. Service operation is a critical phase of the IT service management lifecycle. The day-to-day operations must be properly conducted, controlled and managed in order for the processes to run smooth and effectively. The application has been deployed and customers can now access the new service. The operations team is monitoring the application, and they are responsible for restoring the service within 15 minutes in the event of a failure according to the service level agreement. In this phase, there are not only processes called out by ITIL, but also functions. The functions are relying on the processes to deliver the services to its customers, and they are a key part of the service delivery and management. The functions are service desk, technical, application, and operations management. Part of the life cycle is the continual service improvement process. Its purpose is to continually align and realign IT with the business strategic and operational objectives, ensuring improved service levels, avoiding adding cost, reducing quality, or introducing risk. The starting point for the CSI is to identify your vision, tactical goals, and operational goals. There are 7 steps associated with the CSI. 1. Define what you should measure. 2. Define what you can measure. 3. Gather the data. Consider this: who, how, when, and what's the integrity of the data. 4. Process the data. Well, how frequently? What system? And again, what is the accuracy of this data? 5. Analyze the data. What is its relations, its trends? Is it according to the plan? Are we meeting targets? Do we need a corrective action? 6. Present and use the information, either assessments and summaries and action plans, etc. 7. Implement corrective action.
You may not have the appetite to implement the entire ITIL framework.
And that's okay.
Yeah, ITIL in its design allows you to pick what's most important for you. You know, for many organizations, perhaps their disciplines around change control is lacking, or maybe there are inefficiencies at their service desk. Well, no matter what pain you feel or you make your customers endure, ITIL can help you gain control of those situations.
Well, and its purpose is to create an IT service delivery model that is economical, practical, and affordable for the company.
Absolutely.
Well, we thank you for watching Theories in Practice, and we hope that this session has expanded your knowledge of ITIL.
Great seeing you and hope to see you again. Bye.